Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. It's my privilege to be a part of a conversation that is very long overdue. I'm delighted to have been invited by the non-malignant hematology team at Imperial and to be able to give the first talk on sickle cell and nutrition at one of their events. This is a topic that is often overlooked, yet it powerfully shapes how people living with sickle cell disorder feel daily today. I'm Jael. I'm a sickle cell warrior, a former secondary school teacher, and a naturopathic nutritional therapist. I have spent the last 10 years training in different complementary therapy and alternative medicine modalities in an attempt to find a cure for my own sickle cell. Looking for one thing that was going to take away the pain of sickle cell crises. What I have discovered is that pain management is layered, it's complex, and it's multifaceted. And so I've dedicated this pivot in my career to helping people living with chronic pain, particularly those affected by sickle cell disorder. Sickle cell disorder places a much higher metabolic demand on the body. In a person without sickle cell, their blood cells live for approximately 90 to 120 days. That's 3 or 4 months. Ours break down a lot more rapidly, often within 10 to 20 days. This rapid turnover, combined with the strain of dead or dying cells circulating in our blood, increases inflammation and oxidative stress. This means our bodies need more nutritional support just to maintain basic function. A study as far back as 1993 found that people with sickle cell had a basal metabolic rate that was 19% higher than those without the condition, and not a single medical professional has ever told that. This means that individuals living with sickle cell need more calories, more protein, and higher amounts of nutrients that support metabolism and antioxidant defense. Think of it like driving your car with the handbrake slightly off. The car still moves, but it burns through fuel faster, and the parts wear out sooner. Nutrition is one of the tools that helps to relieve that rate. Several studies have shown that people with sickle cell often have lower levels of key nutrients. For example, folate. We're actually only prescribed the synthetic inactive version of folic acid. Methylated folate is bioavailable and more actively absorbed by the body. We have lower levels of vitamin B12, and combined with folate, these support red blood cell production. We also have lower levels of vitamin D, and that influences immunity and our bone strength. Zinc and magnesium, which help to regulate inflammation, immunity, and muscle function, and antioxidants like vitamin C and E, which protect our cells from the damage caused by oxidative stress. Addressing these deficiencies isn't a cure, but correcting them can help the body recover faster, hope better, and make a measurable difference to pain levels and quality of life. Before we get into practical steps, I want to make one thing clear. Sickle cell doesn't just affect our blood, it affects our immune system too. When our red blood cells break down, the body has to work harder to clear the debris, which diverts energy away from immune defense. That makes us more susceptible and vulnerable to inflammation and infections. Around 50% of our immune cells live in our gut. So what we eat literally shapes our body's ability to fight back. Every meal is an opportunity to support or strain that system. In that sense, food isn't just fuel, it's medicine. Let's talk about what you can do today. And remember, the goal isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. As sickle warriors, I'm sure we are all tired of being told to drink more water. But dehydration thickens the blood, and that triggers pain crises. Sip water or herbal infusions regularly through the day, rather than trying to drink large amounts of water at once. Add chopped or frozen fruit to your water. Mint, lemons, limes, ginger, cucumber slices. Make it as interesting as you can. Coconut water or electrolyte drinks can help when plain water just feels like a chore. And we can also eat our water. Fruits, vegetables, low sodium soups, stews, and broths can all contribute to our hydration goals. Each plate should include complex carbohydrates, such as wholemeal or whole grains, whether it's bread, brown rice, sweet potatoes, barley, or oats. White bread, pasta, simple carbohydrates have virtually no nutritional benefit except calories. Having good quality proteins in every meal, from plants, poultry, eggs, or fish, and healthy fats like unsalted nuts and seeds, olives, avocado, extra virgin olive oil, and natural yogurt. These combinations support steady energy, tissue repair, and recovery. Deeply coloured fruits and vegetables are packed with antioxidants that help reduce oxidative stress. Aim to eat the rainbow each day. Try new foods. Lentils, beets, peas, tofu, quinoa are easy ways to add both protein and fibre. Trying out different types of greens adds different vitamins and minerals to your diet. And here's a fun fact. Our taste buds regenerate every 10 to 14 days. So that means if a new food doesn't win you or your children over, keep at it. Give it a couple of weeks, because your body will eventually get used to what you feed it. And I say this from experience. I'm a trained vegan chef. I took 2 years out of my teaching career to do a diploma and to do a year's apprenticeship working in a restaurant. Don't do that, Susan. Don't work 12-hour shifts in a restaurant. I spent years experimenting with foods, flavours, and preparation methods to find combinations that are both nutritious and enjoyable. And remember that seasoning makes all of the difference. Enjoying your food helps you stick to it. And don't underestimate fibre. It feeds the beneficial bacteria in our gut, which produce compounds that calm inflammation and support immune balance. Fibre also helps clear out the metabolic waste from dead cells, toxins, and medication byproducts, activating one of the body's simplest yet most powerful detoxification systems. Most adults need at least 30 grams of fibre a day, yet very few people manage to reach that. It's an area where small, consistent dietary additions can make a real difference. Getting enough iron isn't just about eating more. It's about helping your body to absorb it effectively. Many of us who have blood transfusions or have that thalassaemia element to your sickle cell disorder need to be very mindful of iron overload. So I recommend combining non-heme sources of iron, so iron that's not from meat. So dark green leafy vegetables, lentils, nuts, seeds, and if you combine that with vitamin C-rich foods like citrus or peppers, it helps the body absorb the iron better. Highly processed foods and refined oils, so your sunflower oils, your vegetable, peanut oils, excess sugar, all increase inflammation. Choose naturally, minimally processed whole food wherever possible. These small swaps can make a difference over time. Frequent medication use and stress can upset digestion and immune balance. Include fermented foods such as sourdough bread, sauerkraut, kimchi, plain yogurts, or kefir to restore good bacteria. And many traditional foods are naturally fermented. Fufu, gari, injera, Caribbean mori. Ask your elders, ask the herbalists in your community. Whatever your cultural background, there is likely to be a traditional fermented food that will support your gut and strengthen your immunity. These are modest, manageable steps, but when done consistently, they lay the groundwork for stronger nutrition, steadier energy, and a body that is better equipped to heal. Each choice we make is an act of self-care and a way of giving your body the support it needs to function at its best. So let's pivot to hospitalization and recovery. Hospital stays and recovery periods can be especially draining. Appetite often drops, and the food served may not meet our nutritional demands of somebody with sickle cell. When I was in my 20s and hospitalized quite regularly, I used to photograph every single hospital meal I'd served and post it online. So name and shame the various different hospitals and the size of the portions and the absolutely terrible meals that they served in the 90s and the early 2000s. I like to think I've grown up a little bit since then, but hospital meals are still tiny and not very nice. Every strategy that I share with clients, bring nourishing snacks like oat bars, fruit, fortified plant milks, protein shakes to maintain energy between meals. Pay extra attention to hydration. Hospital air tends to be dry and cold, and that dehydrates us even more. Like, every time I used to get discharged from hospital, my feet would be dry. Like, my skin was dry. There's something about hospital air, that recycled air-conditioned air, that dehydrates you more rapidly than the air at home. So it's important for us to, as well as being on a drip, drink as much water and eat as much fruit and vegetables as we can. I actually laugh when I wrote this. To ask the hospital catering teams to provide you more fruit and vegetables. Or, better still, encourage your visitors to bring something nourishing for you to eat. Reintroduce nutrient-dense foods gradually during recovery. Soups, stews, and smoothies restore strength and ease digestion. And consider supplementation in discussion with your healthcare providers to restore vitamins and minerals lost during illness or transfusions. At a minimum, a higher quality daily multivitamin is helpful because recovery isn't just physical, it's metabolic. Every calorie, every nutrient supports red cell production, tissue repair, and our overall resilience. At Cell-Based Nutrition, my focus is on evidence-informed personalized care. I combine clinical understanding of naturopathic principles to help clients stabilize energy, manage pain, and support their long-term resilience. I'm also a qualified massage therapist, reflexologist, and aromatherapist. So I use multiple modalities to layer an effective holistic pain management plan. My approach looks at nutrient status, diet reviews, and where appropriate functional testing. Lifestyle factors like sleep, stress, and digestion that directly affect symptoms. Meal and lifestyle plans. And education and empowerment so each person understands how their body works and can make sustainable changes. Nutrition can play a meaningful role in pain management, by addressing inflammation, oxidative stress, and nutrient deficiencies that can help stabilize energy, reduce cellular stress, and support tissue repair. Healthy gut function supports immunity and reduces systemic inflammation, which in turn can lessen the intensity of pain crises. These changes are not going to eliminate pain overnight. I'm not going to gaslight you. I'm in pain right now. But better nutrition gives the body tools to cope more effectively, shorten recovery time after crises, and improve our overall and general body's resilience. For anyone wanting to learn more, I share accessible information through my educational videos on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I cover topics such as pain management, hydration, and nutritional support for chronic illness. I also provide blog articles on my website that break down complex information into small and simple practical steps. I'm also developing a library of downloadable resources and a series of interactive online courses, a mix of live and pre-recorded sessions to help put these strategies into practice in everyday life. Keep an eye out on my social media, gentle plug, for updates as new materials are launched. Every recommendation in my practice is designed to work with the body's cellular needs and not against them. Nutrition doesn't replace medical care, but it strengthens it. When the body is nourished, when it's hydrated, our systems perform better, from red blood cell production to pain regulation. Living well with sickle cell starts with understanding that food is more than fuel. It's information, it's instruction, it's support for every cell in the body. And remember, every choice that you make, every sip and every bite sends a message to your cells. Supporting your body with the right nutrition isn't a magic cure, but it gives you the tools to live stronger, to fight harder, to recover faster, and to face sickle cell with more resilience. Fuel your body well, and it will help you live well with sickle cell. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I am looking around the room. Really thank you. Thank you so much for the thought. Obviously, cell-based nutrition.com, that's your website. Well, we're going to have some Q&A. You don't mind? You like to sit up there? Please. Do you want the Q&A? I can. I don't mind. If we can, if you can get a mic. Okay, that's really informative. Then the first question I could ask, but there's going to be quite a few questions, is which superfood do you think, I mean, you mentioned quite a few, but there's no silver bullet, but which superfood do you feel is the most impactful?
Nutritional therapists are obsessed with gut health. As I said, 70% of our immune system is based in our gut. So any functional nutritionist will tell you that improving your gut health is pretty much the basis to improve your health in general. So for superfoods and fermented foods, get in your prebiotics, your probiotics, and your fermented foods. One of the reasons why I started looking into traditional cultural fermented foods is because the ones that Western nutrition give were a little bit hot. I'm a chef, so I like eating anything. I'll eat anything from any culture, you know. But sauerkraut, kimchi, they're a particular taste. It takes a while to be able to get used to them. Sourdough bread is great, but a lot of people don't like the dense texture, even though, you know, that easy to chew white bread is nutritionally terrible for you. Please don't eat it. But yeah, one one thing to focus on in terms of superfoods, fermented foods.
Thank you. Right. Any other questions? And wait for the mic so everyone can hear. Introduce yourself.
My name's Laurel Bromont-Palmer. That's my artwork. We'll get into that later. But when you say fermented foods, can you give examples of what fermented foods are?
Fermented foods are food that have been allowed to develop the lactobacilli. So imagine the process of pickling. So you would get vegetables and you'll put them in like a sterilized airtight container with water and make a brine of either apple cider vinegar or some salt. And you will literally leave it to ferment, to leave the bacteria to grow. And so pickles are a good example of fermented food. Olives can be very dry. Kimchi, sauerkraut, natural yogurts, so like a fat Greek yogurt. If you are plant-based, they do coconut yogurts that have that are gut healthy, and then kefir. That's another dairy product, but they also sell water kefir range as well.
Can you hear me? I'm Nigerian, so I'm into a lot of traditional foods. What would you say about pounded yam that we're amongst early food?
Fufu is fermented. Pounded yam isn't. Eba is. Gari is. And then a lot of like West African foods, I think in modern times, because of, well, West African food has become very meat heavy, but traditionally, think of the plassas. That's what we call it in Sierra Leone, the breeds. We have so many breeds in West African food, so many soups and stews that contain peanuts and pumpkin seeds, and all of that is great nutritionally. The excess meat and the over reliance on swallow and rice. I did a video last week on YouTube. It was about diabetes, but I did speak about the fact that if we have a more sedentary lifestyle, which we do we need to be eating the amount of carbohydrates that our grandparents and great-grandparents who did manual labor ate? You know, they were building fire outside, fetching water. We have machinery that does most things for us. Do we need to eat as much rice and pounded yam as we do? So reduce the carbohydrates and increase the vegetables and what Polina eats. Not too much to look nice. Yeah. Remember, jollof rice was a party food. It wasn't an everyday food. Why are we eating jollof rice on a Tuesday afternoon? No. It was a wedding food. It's celebration food. But we're eating things that our grandparents ate once or twice every couple of months on a daily basis. And we have to be honest with ourselves that the food that we eat literally builds our cells from the inside out.
Thank you. Is there another question? Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Patricia. We sat up. I just wanted to ask you about the vitamin, because we are taking folic acid, and it's there. When we are in the hospital, we take stronger antibiotics. I'm really confused about which right vitamins to take, and also something for my gut, clean everything, because I've got sensitive stomach, and I don't know which vitamin to go for. And also, as a woman, I need more vitamin than the men. So, can you give me some advice on it? Because obviously you're already on so many different antibiotics already. So if you can give some information about which vitamin and which one for the guys. That'll be both for my sister. Thank you. I'll see you later.
You know, it's very controversial. No. More advice about vitamins and minerals, because obviously it's better to do personalized advice depending on the individual. But general advice, a good quality multivitamin is essential. And by good quality, and I'm going to be a bit controversial, this is Superdrug are not it. There are different types of nutrients that are either more bioavailable or not. The example that I gave when I was talking about folic acid versus methylfolate, folic acid is synthetic, and our bodies then need to convert it through several stages before they can use it. Our bodies are already in metabolic disarray. Methylated folate, which the NHS won't provide because it's more expensive, the conversion has already been done. So when you take it, your body can utilize that folate almost immediately. So there needs to be some understanding about the quality of vitamins that we take. It's the same with iron, it's the same with calcium. There are different types of that same nutrient. Some are more bioavailably active than others. So a good quality multivitamin, B vitamins are essential, methylated if you can. B vitamins help with red blood cell production, but they also help with energy. Somebody asked a question about fatigue, and I think that is something that is understudied with sickle cell. When we have a sickle cell crisis, we something called hypoxia, which is low levels of oxygen in the blood, and it affects our brain. Brain fog and chronic fatigue are things that are very important to be studied with sickle cell. And I don't see much study done. So methylated B vitamins. People need to be very careful with iron, and that needs to be done in conjunction with your either your GP or your hematologist, because you need to know where your iron levels are. A lot of people just take iron because they think, oh, iron is good for the blood. But if you have iron overload, it can cause toxicity in your organs. So that's something that you need to be really mindful of. And then we need to think about the vitamins and minerals that are good for immune health. So vitamin D, most Black people are deficient in vitamin D. We live in a country that the sunshine is the jokes. And so we're chronically deficient. Vitamin D is essential for immune health. Vitamin C, and I can say we can be a little bit more liberal with vitamin C because it's a water-based, it's water-soluble vitamin. You can't really overdose on it, and everybody has too much and urinate out anyway. So you could be a bit more liberal with vitamin C. And vitamin E as well, that's an antioxidant. So those are what I would say you could take. And in the vast majority of cases, obviously there are individual differences, but in the vast majority of cases, none of those are going to contraindicate any medication at all. In terms of for your gut, prebiotics and probiotics. So prebiotics contain the fibers that the beneficial bacteria in our gut live off. That's why I say you must eat a plant-based diet. You have to eat your vegetables because vegetables contain prebiotics. When your body digests the fibers in the vegetables, act as food for the beneficial bacteria, and then probiotics are the beneficial bacteria. So methylated folate, methylated B vitamins, antioxidants, vitamin D. Sorry about that, but sorry. I want to say.
Oh, that's not what's safe about
Because that my blood is checked monthly, right? And I'm getting a bit of iron overload. So then I would go for multivitamin, so I should supplement them as well. You can go for a multivitamin that does have iron, and that's why I say the better quality ones they can be tailored.
if you go for a general one off the shelf from your pharmacy food drug is going to have iron in it. But if you go for some of the more nutraceutical brands, you can have multi